Hello and welcome to this episode of Peak Life. Today we're talking about the Indian River Design Guidelines, and here to tell us everything we need to know is Nat McCormick from the Planning Department. Thanks for being here, Nat.
Thanks for having me.
So we've been talking a lot lately about comprehensive plan, individual location plans, and you've got a couple of design guidelines on the mark for right now. The Indian River Design Guidelines are almost complete. Tell me more about this project.
Sure, and let's start with the comprehensive plan just to share the big picture. A comprehensive plan is something that any city in Virginia is required to have. It is the big vision for the future of the city. So how should the city develop in the future over the period of a generation? And these are periodically updated. So we're actually in the process of updating the comprehensive plan. From that, Chesapeake is a really big place. So we have 10 districts within the city, all of which have their own history and character and needs. So the solution in one place is not going to be the same as somewhere else. So we have what are called area plans for each of those districts. And several years ago, we completed the Indian River area plan called the Planning Area Study.
Okay.
And one of the big recommendations out of that was to create a set of design guidelines for Indian River.
Okay. I love how the kind of stepping down process of this works. So we have the comprehensive plan, which is aspirational. It kind of speaks to a little bit of everything. And then we really start honing in, because you're right, we hear it all the time, this is a community of communities.
Right.
So Indian River has different needs than Great Bridge, than Western Branch. And I think the planning department has done a really good job at finding those unique pieces of every location. And as we get even further down, this design guideline really sort of speaks to the vibe, the aesthetic of the area. Is that right?
It is. So I think you described it well. This is our toolbox. We have looked in the planning study, we evaluated the whole Indian River area. We identified things that were great and that we should build on and support, things that weren't working as well. So what can we do to fix that? And this study focuses not on all of the area, but on the 3 commercial corridors.
Okay.
So we have 3 big roads that serve Indian River, which are Indian River Road, and then the sections of Providence Road and Military Highway, which contain most of the commercial and business life for the community.
Okay. Talk a little bit about what these guidelines can do in real life. You know, we put, here's our ideas that is pulled from community input and expert opinion, and once it's in place, what all is it capable of doing?
Yeah, it is intended to shape the environment that reflects all of the aspirations that we heard from the community. We want safer streets. We want local businesses. We want dining outdoors, not just inside a restaurant. What does that look like? So the design guidelines are able to drill down into how do you create those conditions. And in any new development, if council supports our direction, new development would need to follow the guidelines, and this happens over a period of time.
Right.
So it's not a transformation that happens overnight.
Right.
But we get there incrementally.
Which I feel like is true with frankly, a lot of what you guys do in your department. You know, you're thinking long term, you're thinking big picture, and this is kind of our roadmap to get there. You have had a lot of community input, and that's an important part of these plans.
It always is. Chesapeake does a really good job at getting out to talk to the people who know the places best. So we've been out to the community. So we've been at this for about 18 months now. We've had 3 specific community-wide meetings over the course of that, where we've shared our progress and taken in new information. Each of those had survey opportunities, so what does everybody think? We always have, one of the really important things that I think you've seen on other projects is we always set up a website at the beginning. So I'd encourage people who may not be familiar with this one to go look at the Indian River website through the planning department. So, I mean, it's the community's vision that points us in the right direction, and we think that these reflect what we have been asked to do.
This is really exciting. When is the community going to be able to put their hands on the plan, to see the plan? What are the next steps?
So the good news is we have a plan that people can look at now. We had our last community meeting in October. We are just starting the process of sharing this with Planning Commission and then City Council. So there's a process to go through to make sure that our tool corresponds to their vision and they're comfortable with it.
Okay.
So it is posted currently on the website I referenced,
Perfect.
so it can be seen.
Great.
And the really exciting part is now we get to think about how we make things happen. So planning projects is part of this. Through the process, we learn a lot of things about, say, amenities that are desired by the community.
Okay.
And an excellent example of that is the recent opening of the Blue Heron Landing Park,
Yes.
which was an exciting event last fall.
Absolutely.
And now we have that really great gem of an asset right there at the foot of the bridge. Now we build on that. How do we help people get there? Would it be helpful to have bicycle lanes along Indian River? How do we calm the traffic a little bit so people can cross the road safely? So those are the specific things that we'll begin to program now to make that new park even better than it is.
Perfect. It's all part of the plan, and it's all thanks to a lot of community input. Nat, did we forget anything?
I think we've got a tool that we think is a good one. Now I just encourage members of the community to stay in touch with us. Let us know what projects are important, or if new ones are thought of. Our door is always open to learn those things and to help achieve the vision.
Perfect. Nat, thank you so much. Nat McCormick, Community Design Manager with the Planning Department. We're really excited. We're going to send folks to the website to make sure that they can check it out as well. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
That does it for this episode of Peak Life. Thanks so much for watching.